Trump bests Ted Cruz in Iowa and now receives 34% support among Republican caucus-goers. Trump was at 23% in the Fox News poll 2 weeks ago, January 4th to 7th. Cruz is second with 23%, down a touch from 27%. Marco Rubio comes in third with 12%, down from 15%. No others garner double-digit support. Among caucus-goers who identify as very conservative, Cruz was up by 18 points over Trump earlier this month. Now they each receive about a third among this group, Cruz 34% versus Trump 33%. There's been a similar shift among white evangelical Christians. Cruz's 14-point advantage is now down to a 2-point edge. A lot has happened in the intervening 2 weeks. Fox Business Network hosted a Republican debate where Trump questioned Cruz's eligibility to be president, and Cruz attacked Trump's liberal New York values on Tuesday. Gov. Terry Branstad urged his fellow Iowans to vote against Cruz because of his opposition to ethanol, and former vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin endorsed Trump. Republican pollster Dawn Shaw says, "We tend to overinterpret every little thing in a presidential race, but here we actually have solid evidence. Trump didn't just win last week in Iowa, he won it by enough to put some distance between himself and Cruz." Shaw conducts the Fox News poll with Democratic pollster Chris Anderson. But a lot can change before Iowans caucus February 1st. A third of Republican caucus-goers say they may change their mind, 33%. Even 1 in 4 Trump supporters says they may ultimately go with another candidate, 25%. Cruz tops the list when caucus-goers are asked their second-choice candidate. When first and second-choice preferences are combined, it's extremely tight between Trump 48% and Cruz 45%. That's because 20% of Iowa Republican caucus-goers are so negative on Trump they say they would refuse to vote for him over the Democrat in November, while fewer say the same of Cruz, 11%. Another 14% say they would stay home if the nominee is Jeb Bush. Here's how the rest of the field stands. Ben Carson is at 7%, Rand Paul is at 6%, Bush and Chris Christie each get 4%, Mike Huckabee, John Kasich and Rick Santorum tie at 2%, and Carly Fiorina gets 1%. More than a third who say they will attend a Republican caucus this year have never gone before, 38%. Many of these first-time attendees, 43%, are supporting Trump, while 19% favor Cruz and 14% Rubio. The poll can't predict how many from this group will actually show up. Among just those Republicans who have caucused before, it's a 3-point race. Trump 28% versus Cruz 25%. Another 10% go for Rubio. True conservative values is the top characteristic caucus-goers want in their party's nominee, 27%, closely followed by telling it like it is, 24%, and being a strong leader. New Hampshire. Unlike Iowa, there has been little movement in the New Hampshire Republican race. Trump continues to garner more than twice the support of his nearest competitors. The Fox News poll shows Trump at 31%, down 2 points, Cruz at 14%, up 2 points, and Rubio at 13%, down 2 points. Kasich is at 9%, Bush and Christie each receive 7%, Carson and Paul tie at 5%, while Fiorina gets 3%, and Huckabee 1%. Despite dominating the NH race, Trump also tops the list as the nominee who would make Republicans stay home in November. 26% say they would refuse to vote for Trump against the Democrat. 15% say the same of Bush, 14% feel that way about Cruz, and 12% about Rubio. Over half of likely Republican primary voters in the Granite State say they are certain to vote for their candidate, while 36% could still shift their support. Granite Staters also want slightly different traits in their nominee than their Iowa counterparts. NHGOP primary voters want a strong leader 27%, and someone who tells it like it is 21%, more than a nominee who has true conservative values 15%, is electable 13%, or has the right experience 12%. The Fox News poll is conducted under the joint direction of Anderson Robbins Research D and Schwa & Company Research R. These polls were conducted January 18 to 21, 2016 by telephone, landline and cell phone with live interviewers. The New Hampshire poll was among a sample of 801 registered voters selected from a statewide voter file. Results based on the sample of 401 Republican primary voters have a margin of sampling error of plus or minus 5 percentage points. In Iowa, the poll was among a sample of 801 registered voters selected from a statewide voter file. Results based on the sample of 3